I'm 75 now. I can't remember anybody. It must have been so difficult. I'll always remember that.
What really happens behind the palace walls of the royal family? It's time to tell you everything. We go behind the palace walls to reveal the shocking truths. Camilla becomes queen consort after years of investigations, and Harry and Meghan's shocking break from tradition. Today's video will show you the secret conflicts and scandals that are still affecting their legacy. Keep watching, as we will show you a side of the monarchy that many people would not have thought of: the royal family's public persona. As a whole, the royal family has always been a tricky mix of public love and private trouble. Behind the grandeur and shine is a reality that isn't always what it seems. The carefully chosen looks they give to religious ceremonies, charity events, and state meetings tell one story, but the whispers from behind their walls tell a completely different one. Take Princess Diana as an example. Her life behind the golden walls was terrible. At first, her marriage to Prince Charles was seen as a way to strengthen the government, but cracks started to show up year after year. Diana's own words, like her angry BBC interview, showed a woman who was dealing with a cheating husband, being alone, and not having much emotional support. Self-harm and eating issues were problems she mostly dealt with by herself, but she kept a smile on her face for the cameras. Diana's problems were shown to everyone, not just her close friends and family. Because the media followed her around, she became both a tragic figure and a beloved icon. The world was shocked when she talked about her pain, especially in a family that is known for being tough. There was a bigger gap between the monarchy's public image and their personal life because they refused or were unable to publicly acknowledge her difficulties. The new information about Prince Harry has made this already complicated story even more complicated. He walked behind his mother's coffin in a funeral parade that millions of people saw when he was young. The mental scars from losing Diana at such a young age got worse as I grew up in public. Especially when he was at his weakest, Harry has been honest about how his family didn't back him. He said that the ruling institution was a place where problems with other people were seen as bothersome and feelings were not taken into account. The wedding of Harry and Meghan Markle was another turning point. When they chose to give up their royal duties, it caused a lot of trouble in the monarchy. In her conversation with Oprah Winfrey, they talked about Meghan's mental health problems and claims of racism at the institution. When Harry said that his family ignored their problems, it painted a picture of a royalty that wouldn't change. Never complain, never explain has been the family's motto for a long time and has been seen as the pinnacle of royal manners. It makes people curious and leads to discussion, but they can also keep quiet. The palace's response to Harry and Meghan's interview was calm but noticeably short, which left a lot of questions unanswered. The fact that they aren't open about things has made their public image even worse, as it has been mistaken for apathy. Other people in the family have also not stayed out of the spotlight. The friendship between Prince Andrew and Jeffrey Epstein hurt the monarchy's reputation and raised questions about who is responsible for what in institutions. Andrew is taking on less public work, but he is still a controversial figure, so the fallout from this row continues to cast a cloud. Even though he has tried to bring the throne up to date, King Charles also carries the weight of his past. He was mostly married to Diana because he loved Camilla, who is now queen consort. Many people are still very upset about that situation, even though how people feel about Camilla has changed over time. Charles's rule gives people a chance to change the throne, but people always think about his personal life. The royal family faces more than just personal problems. They also have to deal with a world that is changing. More and more people have different ideas about what the royalty means in today's world. Especially younger people are curious about what the organization does and how much it's worth. The things that Harry, Meghan, and others have said have made people want more accountability and honesty. As the royal family's private struggles unfolded, another story simmered. Camilla's rise from scandal to a respected queen consort was just beginning. Camilla's journey from scandal to queen consort. Until she became queen consort, Camilla was one of the most criticized royal figures in history. It's amazing how she's changed. She was once called the most hated woman in Britain by newspapers. Her journey shows that she is strong, patient, and good at changing her public image. Camilla's connection with Charles, who is now king, was once very public. The friendship she had with Prince Charles while Princess Diana was married made her look bad in public. Diana's famous quote about having 3 people in her marriage confirmed Camilla's image as a third party. People looked at her closely and said bad things about her for years. Some said she was the reason Diana was sad. Even though people said she shouldn't have, Camilla stayed with Charles and helped him through his problems in a gentle way. The reason she was quiet at first was because she knew that as time went on, people would warm up to the idea of them being married. When they got married in 2005, it was clear that they wanted to have a future together. There were some problems, though, when Camilla joined the royal family. Over time, Camilla began to carve out a place for herself outside of Diana's shadow. As a senior royal, her job helps with things like literacy, raising knowledge about domestic violence, and the well-being of people who have been sexually assaulted. These projects slowly changed her public image and showed that she was very passionate about making big changes. She has been especially kind and strong in her support of victims of domestic abuse. Camilla has been honest about how important it is to make safe spaces for survivors and use her power to speak up for them. In a recent conversation, Camilla talked about the hard times she's had over the years and how they have made her strong. She stressed how important it is to stay true to yourself, even though she knew it would be hard to accept others. Being honest with me was nice, and it let me know more about the person behind the title. Camilla also talked about her personal life, which was a thank you to her close family for helping her along the way. During her time in the public eye, she worked on literacy programs and did something that stands out. As an avid reader, Camilla has strongly pushed reading as a way to learn and gain power. One thing that has helped her public image is that she loves reading, which makes her more likable. Camilla's dedication has clearly paid off, as she has gone to classrooms and started efforts to get young people to read. Camilla's change has also been affected by how she acts in public. At first, she tried to stay out of the spotlight, but over time, she became more comfortable with her situation. Many critics like her because she is funny, friendly, and easy to relate to. This has also helped her become popular with a new group of royal watchers. During the epidemic, when she connected with people both online and in person, these traits stood out even more. The people can also see how her relationship with Charles is changing. People today tend to see them as a single unit because they help each other with their royal duties. Love stories used to be a source of strife, but now many people see them as stories of long-lasting relationships that got through hard times. Camilla's unwavering support for Charles as he rose to the throne made her royal status even stronger. Camilla has mostly been able to handle tough situations thanks to her strength. She has earned respect over time for being able to ignore complaints from the public and focus on her job. She has taken on her role as queen consort with calm confidence, showing how the monarchy is changing. She has done a great job of combining modernity and custom. Camilla's image has changed over time and through different styles. It has also changed because of how hard she has worked to connect with people. Camilla has changed the story by showing how sincerity and hard work can change people's minds in the real world. She has done this by supporting good causes and being friendly. Camilla's rise from scandal to respect set a new precedent. But Harry and Meghan's departure from the royal family introduced a fresh wave of challenges for the monarchy. Meghan and Harry's ongoing saga. The fact that Meghan and Harry chose to step down as senior royals is still one of the most talked about events in recent royal history. It was the beginning of a very special time for the kingdom, as two famous members chose freedom over tradition. Their journey since then has been full of finds, risky choices, and the search for who they are outside of the royal line. The couple started making changes to their life by moving to North America. As soon as they got to California, they started quickly building their image through media projects like Harry's book Spare and a Netflix docuseries. These projects gave us a look into their personal lives and made the stresses royals were under more clear. Especially Harry told very private stories about his childhood, his relationships, and how hard it was to live in public all the time. During their chat with Oprah Winfrey, they talked about some shocking things. Meghan talked about her mental health problems, including suicidal ideas, and how she didn't feel supported while she was a working royal. She also talked about how worried her family was about their son Archie's skin tone, which caused a strong reaction and calls for accountability inside the school. While this was going on, Harry talked about being trapped in the system and how he was afraid that the past would happen again after seeing her suffer. Because they chose to speak, bad things happened to them. It got tense when they talked to the royal family, especially Harry's brother Prince William and his father King Charles. Headlines are still mostly about fighting and not talking to each other much. Neither side wants to close the gap that is growing. In his book, Harry wrote about fights and other problems in the family, including a physical altercation with William. This shocked readers and started new conversations about how families work. In spite of these problems, Meghan and Harry have focused on starting a new life based on the values they both hold dear. Through their Archewell Foundation, they have helped with problems like mental health, equal rights for women, and protecting the environment. People praised Meghan's show Archetypes, which was about women's stereotypes, for its insightful analyses. Harry's main public action has always been the Invictus Games, which shows how much he cares about helping soldiers who have been hurt. The couple's parenting style is also being looked at closely. Because Meghan and Harry want a more private life, their kids, Archie and Lilibet, have mostly stayed out of the public eye. It didn't completely ease family strife, but they named their daughter Lilibet after the Queen as a tribute to Harry's grandmother. Meghan and Harry's parenting style is based on love and strength, which they have said are important to their family. Still, their ongoing problems with the media can't be ignored. Harry has been very open about how he thinks the media affected his mother's death and how that now affects his life. Their fights with British papers, which have included going to court, show how determined they are to fight what they see as unfair and harmful coverage. This complicated relationship with the media is still a big part of their story. Some people say that Meghan and Harry's public scandals have overshadowed their charity work. Despite this, their fans see them as leaders who are standing up to an outdated system. People are talking about mental health, racism, and the role of the government in the 21st century, because they are willing to speak out. Charles's role as king in a modern era. Now, when King Charles was in charge, it was hard to change the government because people are very critical of old-fashioned groups. Everyone had been waiting for him to become king for decades. But now that he has to find a way to run a family in public while also running an organization that people today can relate to. Charles's plan to make the government easier to use has been very helpful. His plan is to show a better and cheaper way by focusing on a small group of royals who work. Still, not everyone is happy about this change. Some people see it as a useful way to bring the royal family up to date, while others see it as a change from how grand the family has been in the past. The royal family is under more stress now because of this move, which has also made people wonder what the roles of other family members are. Charles has been well known for a long time for his work with the earth. When he talked about the environment and climate change, the Prince of Wales was sometimes ahead of his time. He has led as king with these goals in mind. He has shown that he cares about these issues by supporting green technologies and lowering the carbon impact of the royal family. Some people say that his strong voice could blur the lines between being neutral and being royal. Still, people who back him say that his campaigns make his rule real and answer the call for quick action on climate change around the world. Some people are still very interested in how Charles runs his family life. Things aren't going so well for Prince Harry since he and his family are no longer together. People can't help but notice the problems when the royal family does things like inviting Harry and Meghan to important royal events to try to make peace. Harry's public stories about his family life, especially those in his autobiography, have shown that his ties with them are broken. It's hard for Charles to keep up with being a father and what people think about the throne. It's also very important that I have one with Prince William. William will become king one day because he is the next in line. A father and his son seem to get along well, but they do things in different ways. The fact that Charles has a more traditional style and William has a more modern and up-to-date one shows how the royal family is adapting to modern times. These small changes show that the monarchy is currently in a careful balance between security and change. Different people still have different thoughts on Charles's rule. While he was being crowned, the country celebrated, there were also protests by people who wanted to get rid of the government. A lot of people, mostly younger ones, wonder if the group is still important in this day and age. These opinions are spread even more on social media, which makes it easier for people to look closely at and question everything the government does. For Charles, it is always hard to deal with these problems without lowering the royal family's status. Also at the top of the list are past issues related to the monarchy. People are talking more and more about Britain's colonial past, and Charles has been asked to talk about these consequences. Even though he feels bad about some of the worst times in British history, more real action is needed more than ever. Keeping these duties in mind while keeping the monarchy out of politics is another task of his leadership. The way Charles talks to Queen Camilla has become an important part of his rule. Camilla's image has been fixed over time after being closely looked at by the people. She helps Charles a lot, both in private and in public as queen consort. Their joint efforts show that they are strong and work well together, which are important qualities for the government to have during this time of change. Charles has a hard time keeping the monarchy's power around the world, especially in the Commonwealth. States like Jamaica and Barbados are calling for independence, which shows that things are changing. On the other hand, his trips to member nations show that he values communication and mutual respect. To keep these ties strong while still respecting the independence of these countries, we would have to be very careful. While King Charles faces the delicate balance of modernizing the monarchy, recent revelations about the royal family's secrets are forcing the public to question everything they thought they knew. The shocking revelations. The news about the royal family has recently shook both the public and private worlds. A series of shocking discoveries have come to light that explain how the monarchy works on the inside and how it often forms secret alliances. These stories have not only changed how people feel about the royal family, but they have also raised serious questions about the truth of some long-held beliefs about their past and ancestry. One of the most interesting trends is the spread of rumors about who some royals really are. There have been claims of possible paternity issues, which make some royal family members seem less than real. Royal bloodlines have always been a source of pride and honor because they help keep the family's standing and power. These new findings, on the other hand, call that well-built story into question. A lot of people are interested in how true these claims are and what they might mean for the future of the royal family because of the speculation. Not less interesting are the claims that some members of the royal family feel bad about what they did. People are talking about these regrets in public now, instead of just in private. People close to the family have talked about the hard choices they've had to make over the years, especially when it comes to relationships, family ties, and public actions. People in the royal family have a lot of regrets about how they've acted with the media and with the rest of the family. It seems like they are cut off from their family ties, especially those who have quit their royal duties, which has only added to the tension. These mistakes have come to light at the same time that the royal family's adaptability to modern life is getting more attention. The government has always been based on tradition, But new information suggests that the current members of the royal family are having trouble balancing these traditions with what people expect in a more open and honest society. People used to be able to pretty much do whatever they wanted with the royal family, but now their every move and reveal is being closely watched more than ever. Along with the rumors and regrets, people close to the royal family have also said some unexpected and sometimes shocking things. This news has shocked the public, and now there are heated debates about privacy, loyalty, and the monarchy's place in the 21st century. Some royal members have gone against what most people think by saying and doing things in public that were not expected. People have had different reactions to these honest events. Some like the openness, while others think these actions go against long-standing royal family rules. For example, some royals have said things in public that are different from the carefully planned and controlled stories the family has always told. These comments have caused a lot of controversy, especially when they come to talking about personal problems, mental health, and family problems, which were once thought to be taboo subjects. In the past, the royal family was seen as the epitome of coolness and composure. However, there has been a clear shift towards more sensitivity in recent years. Some of these surprising findings have been seen as signs of progress and development, while others have caused people to talk about the future of the monarchy and whether it can still work in today's world where privacy isn't a given. Most of these revelations were made possible by the media, which often gives people who know the royal family a way to tell their stories. More rumors have been made about what goes on behind closed doors because of this. The Queen has always had a tense relationship with the press, but the most recent revelations show just how much power the media has to change people's minds about the royal family. The family's efforts to control their image used to be an art form, but now they are in danger in ways that no one could have imagined. What these revelations mean for the future of the throne is one of the most shocking things about them. People's ideas about the royal family are changing, and these new stories make it harder to say if the monarchy will still be important in a society that values honesty and duty. The royal family is trying to hold on to the traditional image that has kept them in power for thousands of years, as shown by their DNA leaks, personal apologies, and comments made at the wrong time. The government has to find a balance between its old traditions and the changing needs of modern society. This is because people are becoming more and more critical of the royal family. More information makes it clear that the royal family's relationships with each other are a lot more complicated than most people thought at first. A lot of people are interested in the shocking news about paternity, personal regrets, and unannounced comments because they will affect the future of the monarchy, shaping the royal image. What people have said about the latest royal news has been anything but calm. People are always talking about what these findings mean for the monarchy in the news, on social media, and even in casual conversations. Some people compare it to the royal family's flawed, confusing, and maybe even important human side. Others see it as proof that an organization with hundreds of years of history may be struggling to stay relevant in a society that is changing quickly. These reactions have been pushed to the forefront, especially on social media. Sites like Twitter and Instagram have become battlegrounds for ideas, with stars and hashtags making the rounds. Memes and short films that focus on the most shocking things that happened in previous interviews or public appearances have gone popular, making sure that even people who don't pay close attention to royal news are still interested in the story. This change shows that official words and well-planned public events no longer shape how people see the government. Instead, it's being driven more and more by the instant, often unfiltered reactions of people online. I can't believe how quickly the story can change. It only takes one tweet or post going popular to get a lot of people talking, and the royal family may have to answer questions they didn't want to. The media's role in this process has also changed. Newspapers and TV networks still have some power, but they tend to follow the stories that get a lot of attention online first. This change has changed the balance of power in how royal stories are told, making it harder for the house to control the story. The fact that people of different generations have had different reactions has also been very important. Older watchers, who may have a more traditional view of the monarchy, usually look shocked or worried when they hear the new information. They see the royal family as a source of stability and continuity, but these revelations change that picture. On the other hand, younger people tend to have a more negative view of the government. They can use these events to push for openness and responsibility, which raises questions about the need for such a group in today's world. The media have had very different views on these responses. Tabloids, which are known for their shocking headlines, have made money off of the drama by calling the revelations crises or scandals. People in some groups like it, but some people think its coverage is too invasive or biased. Serious news outlets, on the other hand, have tried to look at what these events mean by focusing on historical and societal significance rather than just the immediate response. It's impossible to say enough about how social media changes these stories. Since millions of users post their ideas, share stories, and make content, reporters and publicists are no longer the only ones who can change people's minds. Because the story has become more open to everyone, both support for and criticism of the royal family can grow, generally at the same time. It's not easy to tell what will happen to the royalty in the future. Its image has definitely taken a hit since these revelations came out, but it's still not clear if this will lead to long-lasting change. Some people think that the royal family should become more modern and open if it wants to stay important. This could mean facing tough issues head-on instead of relying on vague or quiet comments to calm down the public. Others say that the monarchy's strength comes from its ability to change just enough to stay alive without giving up its most important traditions. But as younger people expect all organizations, including the monarchy, to be more open and responsible, it gets harder to keep everything in balance. This question isn't just about whether the royal family can change quickly, but also about whether they are ready to do so. A big part of this course could depend on how the younger members of the royal family interact with the people. In the coming years, what the royalty says, does, and even posts on social media will have a big impact on how people see them. They might be able to close the gap between the present and the past if they can really connect with people while still following the institution's rules. Another factor is how these revelations might change the royal family's reputation around the world. In places where the queen or king is still the head of state, debates about the monarchy's usefulness have already begun. These arguments can be linked to bigger issues like colonialism, inequality, and national identity, which makes the monarchy's position even more precarious. What matters most is how people feel about the royal goal. For thousands of years, it has been seen as a way to bring people together and a sign of stability in a society that is changing quickly. But these recent events show that even symbols can be looked at closely. The royal family will only be able to deal with this new reality if they are ready to talk to the people in ways that seem real and important. The future of the monarchy will likely be determined by both decisions made within the country and demands made from outside the country. The whole world will watch and either praise or criticize everything the royal family does. Still, one thing is for sure. The days of blind respect are long gone. The test of whether they can do it is still to come. There is a lot of question, participation, and noise in the public, and the monarchy needs to find its place in their minds and hearts. If you found these royal revelations shocking, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more updates. Leave a comment with your thoughts on the monarchy's hidden secrets. Click on the video popping up on your screen to watch what's coming next.